Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the inner sanctum.
Comedy this hour, Harold Peary, starring in The Great-Gildersleeve, as it was originally broadcast on May 27th, 1945, and it seems like his secretary is gone.
Kraft presents The Great-Gildersleeve.
Yeah.
The Kraft Cheese Company, makers of Parquet margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products, presents Harold Peary as the Great Gildersleeve. Kraft brings you the Great Gildersleeve every week at this time, written by John Whedon and Sam Moore, with music by Claude Sweet. Now let's look in on the Great Gildersleeve's household. It's breakfast time, and while Marjorie and Leroy are at the table, Uncle Throckmorton has not yet put in an appearance.
Leroy, stop dumping sugar in your cocoa.
Who said so?
I said so. It's disgusting.
I have to put in quite a lot to get it the way I like it. Bertie won't let me put honey in it anymore.
Well, I should hope not. Pig.
Leroy, I think maybe you better call your uncle. He'll be late to the office.
Well, he's up. He's been up a long time.
How do you know?
I heard him fall down in the bathtub.
Maybe he hurt himself.
Nah, I heard him say some things after.
Oh, I think I hear him coming now. He'll claim he's in a hurry, Bertie. You better bring him the works.
You don't have to tell me.
Well, good morning, children.
Good morning, Unky.
Hi.
Breakfast coming right in, Miss Gilsey.
Fine, Bertie. I'm late.
Yes, you are. You look very sweet, though. I love that necktie.
Now, Marjorie, I didn't even have time to shave.
Really? I never would have noticed. Oh, Unky, there's something I wanted to ask you.
I thought so.
Shut up. I wanted to ask you last night, but I was asleep when you came in.
Oh, what is it, my dear?
Would it be okay for me to work at Hogan Brothers after school and on Saturdays?
What's this?
Hogan Brothers need a sales girl in their sub-deb shop. Can I do it?
Well,
Here you are, Mr. Gilsleeve. Orange juice, scrambled eggs, toast, and coffee.
Thank you, Bertie. I'll have to eat and run this morning.
Francie had the job 3 weeks, but she quit. She said it was easy.
Then why did she quit?
Would you kindly mind your own business, brother dear?
What is this sub-deb shop, Marjorie? What do they sell?
Clothes, of course. I know just as much about clothes as any girl around. I certainly know more than Francie. Her mother won't even let her pick out her own clothes. Can I have the job, Unky?
I'm sorry, my dear. I don't think it would be right.
But why?
I have a number of very good reasons. Pass the salt, please, Leroy.
Here.
Let me tell you something, my dear. Your uncle occupies a position of some distinction in this town. That's what Hogans want to take advantage of.
But I haven't even asked Hogan's for the job.
Don't do it. They'll grab you faster than they grabbed Francie. They like the idea of the water commissioner's niece punching a time clock and saying, yes, madam, to heaven knows who.
Oh, Unky, just from 3:30 to 5:30 every afternoon and 9 to 5 on Saturday, that's nothing at all.
It's not the hours I'm objecting to, my dear. It's the whole idea of the job.
But it would be such good experience. And $22 a week, please, Unky.
No, Marjorie, I'm trying to bring you up as a girl who will make someone a nice wife. Be a good mother to some nice children.
But, Uncle Mort, don't you want me to have any career at all?
I do not. A woman's place is at home, married or single.
But that's so old-fashioned. Why, even married women work these days. Lots of wives work.
Well, if I had one, she wouldn't. Except a little around the house, maybe.
Do you think that's all a husband wants, a housekeeper?
I know that no normal man wants a wife who spends the day in an office or a store.
Well, I think you're mean. I'm trying to earn a little money so I won't be a burden to you and I can have a few clothes.
The discussion is closed, my dear.
Well, I still think you're mean.
Now, Marjorie.
Better get going, Leroy. It's 10 minutes of 9.
Good gosh! Where'd I leave my arithmetic book, Marge?
I don't know. Don't expect me to keep track of it.
Did you have it, Uncle Mort?
What would I be doing with your arithmetic book, Leroy?
I don't know. I thought I left it right here on the mantel. Hey, Marge, wait for me.
Well, hurry up. Is this your book here in the Newell Post?
Oh, yeah, I left it there so I couldn't miss it.
Well, come on.
Hey, goodbye, children.
Come on.
I guess you got to go yourself, ain't you, Mr. Gilsey?
Yes, Bertie, I'm late. Oh, coffee's cold now.
You got time for a fresh cup?
No, I gotta get going.
I got it right here.
Well, there's no use going to the office if I can't function after I get there. Half a cup, Bertie.
Yes, sir.
Oh, a little more than that.
Yes, sir.
Bertie, what do you think Marjorie's got into her head now?
I don't know, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Wants to get a job. Doesn't want to do housework when she grows up.
Is that a fact?
She doesn't understand what fun it's going to be someday to make a home for some nice young man. Take care of his clothes, cook his meals, keep his house looking neat and nice. She doesn't realize what a pleasure that can be for a woman.
No, sir, I guess you don't.
There's something else she doesn't realize, Bertie. She doesn't realize how hard men's work is. She doesn't know the strain it is to be responsible for an organization, to have to plan, make decisions. She just isn't growing up, Bertie.
No, sir, she's just a child.
Well, gotta get down to the office. Yeah, another day at that desk. See if you can find some meat for supper tonight, Bertie. I'll be home at 5:30 and I'll be hungry.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye, Bertie.
Goodbye, Mr. Gildersleeve. I sure would like to be a water commissioner, just long enough to get a little rest.
Hi there, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Good morning, Floyd.
You're a little late this morning, even for you.
Yes, my alarm clock isn't what it used to be.
My wife ain't either, but she still wakes me up. You coming in for a shave?
A shave? Oh, no, I haven't got time, Floyd. Is it very noticeable?
I'll say. You better come in and look in the glass.
Gee, looks worse than I thought. My niece told me it looked all right, but she was trying to get something out of me.
Well, once over lightly?
And make it snappy. Yeah.
Your niece giving you the old malarkey, huh? What you want, money?
Not exactly. She wanted me to let her take a job at Hogan Brothers.
Wish I had a kid that could bring in a little dough. Could close up Saturday afternoons.
I'm afraid we have different standards on this question, Floyd. I disapprove of my niece working. I believe woman's place is the home.
Oh, well, I'm with you there, Commissioner. My wife goes out when I take her. But now, kid, that's something different.
I don't think so. I want her to get married, that's all.
Sure, I understand that. Let her be somebody else's headache.
My niece is not a headache. I simply want to bring her up to be a good wife and a good mother.
We ain't arguing, Mr. Gildersleeve. We're 100% eye to eye. But there's another angle. Where's a girl going to meet her husband these days?
I'm not worrying about that either, Floyd.
I had a cousin, a girl, my father's brother's family. And this girl, well, she wasn't exactly homely. Figure was okay. She was pretty good if you walked up behind her. But, brother, she had a nose I don't know where it come from. Nothing like it in our family.
I came in for a shave, Floyd.
Oh, sure. Well, this girl used to sit around in the house waiting for her husband. And her mother give parties for her, and her old man practically told her to get married in so many words. And I'll hand it to her. She tried. But the fellas would take one look at that beezer and then run for home. Just lay down, Commissioner. Let me loosen your collar.
Make it snappy, will you please, Floyd?
You bet. Well, this kid finally took a job in a drugstore. And what do you think? Inside of 3 weeks, she married a soda jerker.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Hooray. Look, Floyd, I'm late.
Well, she was lucky to meet this guy. He's the only man in the world with a nose bigger than hers.
Well, I'm sure they're very happy.
You ought to see their kids. They look like baby elephants. Now, I don't say your niece has any problem like my cousin.
My niece has no problem, Floyd. She wants to work for fun.
Fun? Is she crazy?
No. Floyd, I've got to get to the office.
Oh, now, Commissioner, it don't make any difference when you get there. You know that.
Let me out of the chair, please.
Now, Commissioner, just relax. I'll have you shaved in 5 minutes.
Well, I'll relax on one condition. Don't talk anymore. Just shave me.
Okay, I can take a hint. Customer don't want conversation. All they got to do is say so. Got to please all kinds. Some like talk, some don't. I remember one customer used to say
Well, I'm good and late now.
Well, it isn't the great Gildersleeve finally arriving at his office. Good afternoon.
If you have business to discuss with me, Judge, kindly step inside.
You know darn well I have business to discuss with you. I've been waiting for you nearly an hour.
Well, my secretary is supposed to remind me of these things.
I reminded you last night.
That Bessie, I'm going to have to let her go. Yes, sir, I'm going to... Where is Bessie?
Some office. Well, if the boss never gets in till 10, you can't expect the help to do any better.
What was it you wished to see me about?
Well, it has to do with a change in the city's contract with the liability insurance people. They seem to feel...
I think I hear Bessie sneaking in. By George, I'm going to have to let her go. Bessie!
Oh, good morning, Mr. Gildersleeve. Good morning, Judge Hooker.
Good morning, Bessie.
Bessie, is this the hour at which you're supposed to arrive at the office?
No, sir.
Have you any explanation? Can you tell me why you should get here an hour later than your employer? You're supposed to open the office, Bessie.
Well, I didn't think you'd mind, just this once. I had something quite important I had to do this morning.
Oh, you did? Had it anything to do with the affairs of the water department by any chance?
No, sir. I was meeting a train.
A relative, no doubt.
No, sir. Just a friend.
Well, perhaps you'd like to spend the rest of the day with your friend, would you?
Yes, sir, I would.
Perhaps you'd like to spend the rest of the week with your friend.
Yes, sir, I would.
Perhaps you'd like to resign from the water department.
Yes, sir, I would. What? Goodbye, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Bessie! Bessie, wait!
Now you've done it.
Well, I've been meaning to do it for years. She's the worst secretary ever born.
What do you do next?
Hire another girl. Take a couple of weeks to break her in, but anybody'll be better than Bessie.
Where are you going to find another girl?
Summerfield Employment Agency. Good, reliable firm. And by George, I'll get a good-looking one this time. After all, she has to meet the public, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Horace, why don't I have him send over half a dozen girls and you and I spend a couple hours interviewing them? Is that a bad way to spend an afternoon?
No, it isn't, Gildy.
Yeah, you darn right it isn't.
But I think you're going to find it a little difficult to arrange.
Nothing to it. Just call the employment people.
I called them myself last week. They're out of business.
Out of business? Why?
Well, in the first place, they couldn't find anyone that needed a job, and in the second place, they couldn't find anyone to answer the phone.
Oh!
The Great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just a few seconds.
May 27th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. More of The Great Gildersleeve starring Harold Peary, May 27th, 1945.
Well, things are in a fine mess with Gildersleeve. Seems he was a little hasty in firing his secretary.
I didn't fire. I let her go.
Anyway, now he's squarely up against the woman power shortage with all the monthly bills to get out. After a bad day of struggling with them alone, he comes home early and slumps down in his chair to read the evening paper.
Might just glance through the want ads. How can I read my paper? Leroy, what are you doing up there?
Arithmetic!
Well, stop it. I mean, can't you do it more quietly?
Okay.
How can a man concentrate with that going on? Help wanted. Help wanted. Plenty of help wanted, but no help. New York, 2, Cincinnati, nothing. Leroy!
Sorry, Unc, I forgot.
I just finished telling you. Come down here.
What's that?
Come on down.
Okay.
I'd like to know what kind of arithmetic that is. Oh, solo mio.
Did you want me, Unc?
Did you have to shake the house down?
Oh, me?
Let it go, Leroy. Where's Marjorie?
Across the street at the Bullards.
She spends entirely too much time at the Bullards.
She's been over there all afternoon, practically. I've been upstairs doing my homework.
So I've heard.
Oh, here's Marge now. Unc wants to talk to you.
I'll be right in.
Where have you been all afternoon?
You know where I was. You were over there.
Well, what's the idea of spending all your time over
Now, Leroy, I'll handle it.
Handle what?
Nothing, my dear, nothing at all. Have you had a pleasant afternoon?
Wonderful. You know what? Marshall's going to teach me to play tennis this summer.
Oh, triple goody.
Well, that's fine, my dear. But I've been thinking.
He gave me my first lesson today. He says he thinks I have the makings of a good player.
How would he know?
It just happens that Marshall is a very fine tennis player. It happens he was on the tennis team at school, the last one he went to.
Ha!
Well, he was.
Don't cause me to laugh.
Leroy, if we'll be not asking too much, I'd like a few words with your sister.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Unc wants to talk to you, Marge.
I've been thinking, my dear. About what we were saying this morning. About you're going to work this summer.
Oh, that's all right, Uncle Mort. It was just an idea. I don't care now, really. I'm sorry I made such a fuss.
Yeah, but you don't understand. I was going to ask you how you'd like to act as your uncle's secretary.
Your secretary?
Yes, temporarily anyway. I lost mine today.
Uncle Mort, I thought you were against women having jobs.
Well, this is different. This wouldn't be for pay.
What?
All right, I'll even pay you a little something.
Hey, no fair. If Marge doesn't have to go to school, why should I?
No one said anything about her not going to school, my boy. She can work for me in the afternoons till school is over. Then she can work full-time this summer. Might even be able to use you, too. Afternoons, I mean.
What would I have to do?
Sharpen pencils, empty wastebaskets, stamp envelopes, whatever an office boy does.
How much would you pay me?
As much as I think you're worth.
Is that all?
On second thought, I'm afraid I better not try to do it, Uncle Mort. I'm afraid Marshall might not like it.
Marshall might not like it. What has he got to say about it?
Well, he offered to teach me tennis. Now, if I have to tell him I'm not going to do it just so I can take a job, just so I can make a little money.
You tell him you're going to do it because your uncle said so. That's why. And you, Leroy.
I was thinking of taking up polo, Unc.
You'll be down there right after school tomorrow, both of you, at 3:30 sharp.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. I haven't seen you in some time. Not since yesterday.
I'm a busy man today, Peavy. My time is not my own. I'd like a bite of lunch.
A little late for lunch, isn't it? 3:15. We don't usually serve lunch here after 2 o'clock.
What difference does it make? All you serve is sandwiches anyway. What have you got there?
Let me see. You seem to have your tongue on rye.
That the same tongue on rye that was lying there yesterday?
Not necessarily.
Well, that's good enough, I guess.
No sooner said than done. Care for a little mustard on it? No extra charge.
Haven't got time.
Well, you are in a hurry, aren't you?
Terrible day, Peavy. End of the month. Got to get out all the bills, and I'm short-handed.
How's the sandwich?
It's the one I thought. Been around for days.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Something to drink?
No, thanks. I'll be lucky if I get this down.
No dessert, maybe.
Well, something I can take with me. One of those things there.
Oh, these? They're called nubs.
That doesn't answer my question. What are they?
Well, between you and me, they're fig Newtons. They come 4 to the package, cellophane wrapped, sell for 5 cents. They're put up by a reliable concern.
Yes. Give me one of those.
They're a trifle smaller than the standard Newton, you see. Makes a nice mouthful.
All right. Give it to me.
By the way, you just missed your niece.
Marjorie?
Yeah, she was just in here with that Bullard boy.
Confound it, what is she doing in here? I told her she was to go straight to the office the minute school was out.
They had a soda and a Battleship Sunday.
Yeah, that's the younger generation for you. Hanging around drugstores when they should be accomplishing something. Now, you take Marjorie, Peavy. I offered her a nice little opportunity today.
That's so?
Yeah, working for me. Sort of a secretarial position.
You're going to hire Marjorie as your secretary?
Well, there's a war on, you know. Anything wrong with that?
Nothing, Mr. Gildersleeve. Nothing.
But what is wrong with it?
Nothing. I've just always thought it was a mistake to have relatives working for you, that's all.
Marjorie's not a relative. She's my niece.
I know, but even so, I had a younger brother of Mrs. Peavy's as a sort of assistant here one summer, until some time ago.
Oh, what happened?
Well, by the end of the summer, Mrs. Peavy and I were only speaking to each other through a third party.
Serves you right for being fool enough to hire him.
That's what I say.
How'd you ever get rid of him?
Well, fortunately, he set the house on fire and she threw him out. Everything was all right again then. But my advice to you, Mr. Gildersleeve, if advice is what you want...
Well, it isn't. I want my check.
Let's see, 150, 21. Kind of a hurry, aren't you?
I told you I was in a hurry when I came in here. Got to get back to the office. When I went out, I put a sign on the door, out to lunch. That won't look so good at 3:45.
Whom did you wish to see, please?
Oh, stop. Come on in, Marshall.
Hi, Leroy.
Did you have an appointment?
Pay no attention to him, Marshall. Where's Uncle Mort?
Out, I guess. There's a sign on the door. Take a letter, Miss Forrester. Dear Mr. Picklepuss.
Get out of there, Leroy. That's going to be my desk.
Okay, I'll take Unc's office.
Better not let him catch you. Sit down somewhere, Marshall.
That's okay. I'll just sit on the desk here.
Oh, Miss What's your name? If I want you, I'll ring for you.
Isn't he awful?
No, he's a good kid. A pest, but a good kid.
He's a pest, all right. Let him ring.
No kidding, Marge. Are you really going to work here?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Every afternoon?
I suppose so.
All summer?
What if I do?
But we'll never see each other. After school, I mean.
Miss Funnyface, I rang.
Oh, go away.
Remind me to fire you in the morning.
What a mess, an absolute mess. Harold Peary, the Great Gildersleeve, May 27th, 1945, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion, along with an episode of Lum and Abner, follows these messages from your favorite radio station. Just going to take a minute here to tell you about the big savings going on now, the clearance sale at mypillow.com. And you know, I've talked about how in my office I have a pair of my slippers, and they're really comfortable, and they're on clearance right now. The mypillow.com slippers, $25 a pair, limit 10. And I would buy 3 or 4 more pairs. Unfortunately, they're out of my size. They also have sheets, pillowcases, clothing items, all on special right now. Go to mypillow.com, click on the clearance tab at the top of the page, use my promo code Wyatt, or call 1-800-928-4715. Limited sizes remaining in the MyPillow slippers, limited colors on other items. mypillow.com, clearance tab, promo code Wyatt, 1-800-928-4715. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold Peary, May 27th, 1945. His secretary is gone, and Marjorie is filling in.
Well, if your mind's made up, I guess there's nothing more to be said.
Hey, Marshall, wait a minute.
Well?
Does it mean so much to you if I work here or not?
Well, I just happen to think that a woman's place is in the home, that's all.
But that's so old-fashioned. You sound just like Uncle Mort.
Well, maybe I am old-fashioned. But I don't like the idea of any girl that I'm the friend of. Well, I don't like the idea, that's all.
Surely a woman is entitled to a life of her own.
Sure, go ahead. I hope you enjoy it.
Marshall, wait.
Oh, look where you're going.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, hello, Marshal. My fault. I didn't see you.
Oh, no, it was mine. Excuse me. Well, I guess I'll be going then, Marge.
Oh, don't, not yet.
Yeah, I guess I better. See you around.
Marshall!
Let him go, my dear. This sort of thing should not be going on here in the office anyway. Not during working hours.
But I haven't started working yet. I've got to speak to him, Uncle Mort.
Now, you stay right where you are. We have a few rules in this office, young lady. One of them is keeping strict hours. I fired one secretary for that yesterday.
Well, I'm not your secretary yet.
Well, let's have that clearly understood at the start. Just because you're my niece don't mean that I'm going to show you any favoritism. If you're going to work here, you're going to have to abide strictly by the rules at all times.
Then I'm not going to work here.
What's that?
I never wanted to work here in the first place. That was your idea.
I'll thank you to remember that I'm your uncle and you'll do what you're told.
You may be my uncle at home, but at the office you're just a dictator.
Oh,
no wonder you can't keep a secretary.
Can't keep a secretary? You're fired.
What's going on?
You too.
What did I do?
You're fired. Hire 'em, fire 'em. Now what am I going to do? Got to get help here. Got to get help. Never should have let Bessie go. May have been no bargain, but at least she never sassed me. Much. Yes, her Bessie was all right. A lot better than some. I wish I could get her back. She hasn't got a phone. That's the trouble. Well, I suppose I could go over there. Hate to go crawling to her, though. Well, I won't. I'll just bring her a bouquet of flowers.
Why, it's...
Yeah, it's me, Bessie. Mr. Gildersleeve. Mind if I come in?
Oh, no, I guess not.
Thank you. Well, these are charming surroundings you have here. I've never had the pleasure of visiting them before.
You mean you're not mad anymore?
Oh, I never was mad, Bessie. No, I just lost my head there for a minute, I'm afraid. War nerves, I guess. You shouldn't have taken it seriously. Oh, brought you these flowers. Just a little token that we're still friends, eh?
Gee, flowers. I don't know what to say, but thanks. I'll put them in water later.
Yes, Bessie, I've come to tell you that you can have your job back.
Well,
To ask you to take it back, in fact.
Oh, well, that's awful nice, Mr. Gildersleeve, but I don't know if I could now.
Why not?
Well, you see, there's this friend of mine I told you about, Stanley Wazansky. He's a sergeant, and he's been after me to marry him all this time, and today I sort of promised him, sort of.
Oh, Stanley Wazansky. Well, that's fine. Go ahead and marry him. What's wrong with that?
You wouldn't get sore?
Sore? Why should I? If you love him, marry him with my blessing and take the day off.
Oh, gee, Mr. Gildersleeve. I don't hardly know what to say.
Take the weekend off. Have a honeymoon. And Monday morning, your job will still be waiting for you.
Just a minute, Bud.
Huh? Who's he?
Ain't you going to introduce me to your fat friend, Bessie?
Oh, well, this is Stanley, Mr. Gildersleeve.
How do you do, Sergeant?
So you're Mr. Gildersleeve. I heard about you, and I heard how you treated Bessie.
Oh, well, that was all a misunderstanding. It's all been straightened out, hasn't it, Bessie? Yes, indeed. She's going right ahead with the wedding. And after that, she's going to get her job back. Yes, sir.
Oh, no, she ain't.
Huh?
No wife of mine is going to work, see?
All right.
With me, a woman's place is in the home, see?
You needn't push.
And I don't want you hanging around, neither. Now get out.
Why, you...
You heard me.
I heard you.
And take your crummy roses.
Oh! Why, you can't do that to me. I'll have you know I'm a veteran. Yeah, I guess you didn't hear me. Wait a minute. Listen.
Well, what's he doing hanging around here? Answer me that. Go ahead, answer me that. What's he doing hanging around here?
Well, maybe all is not lost. Good night, everybody.
Well, it looks like Bessie's going to be back in the Water Commissioner's office May 27th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for bringing us another restored episode of Lum and Abner, and this time we're going to bring you the complete episode, including the Horlicks commercials, as it was originally broadcast May 27th, 1935.
Howdy, everybody. Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner, brought to you by the makers of Horlicks, the original malted milk. If you wonder why day after day I tell you about the superiority of Horlicks malted milk over all imitations, here's the reason. Every day, thousands of new users of malted milk are being created. Now, many of these new users don't know about the inferiority of the imitations of Horlicks that have recently appeared in some stores. They don't know that where Horlicks uses only full cream milk, these imitations often use just skim milk. That where Horlicks uses only choice selected wheat and finest malted barley, these imitations contain raw cocoa, inferior malt, and as much as 60% of ordinary sugar. And that whereas the ingredients in these imitations are just mixed up together, Horlicks uses a special process that preserves the minerals and vitamins. That's why we always say get Horlicks, the genuine malted milk that gives results. Horlicks can be obtained at any druggist's in either natural or chocolate flavor. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. You can imagine Lum's disappointment a few days ago when no one showed up for the ceremonies that he had arranged for the unveiling of the statue he intended to erect and present to the citizens of Pine Ridge. He left the store that afternoon and hasn't been seen since. Now, as we look in on Pine Ridge today, we find Dick Huddleston over at the Jot-'em-Down store in response to an urgent call from Abner, discussing Lum's strange disappearance. Listen.
No, I ain't saw him since he left out of here Friday afternoon.
Well, where'd he say he's going, Abner?
Why, he said he's going over home for a while, but I've been over there a dozen times yesterday and the day before, and he weren't there.
Well, I'll declare.
And that's the reason I called you over here, Dick. Well, when he never showed up today, I begun to worry about him. I was just thinking maybe that we ought to drag the mill pond.
Drag the mill pond? Why, you don't... Oh, no, Lum wouldn't do anything like that, Abner.
Well, now, if you could have saw how disappointed he was the other day when nobody showed up for the unveiling of that statuary, why, you'd be uneasy about him, too. I don't know as I ever seen Lum so tore up over anything. Never seen him so low in spirit.
Well, I don't think, though, he'd let it affect him that bad.
Well, I don't know. I've heard of men getting disappointed in love and jumping in the river and off of bridges and such stuff as that. But I reckon if Lum had jumped in the mill pond every time he'd been disappointed in love, he'd be a diving champion by this time.
Yeah, poor old Lum. But it's his own fault that he gets himself in those embarrassing predicaments, Abner. This idea he had of erecting a statue of himself was a mistake from the start. I tried to tell him that it wasn't his place to put up a monument in his honor.
Well, he knowed that, but he said it looked like nobody else was going to, so he'd have to put it up himself.
Well, it was just a waste of money putting up a little statue like that. It wasn't over 8 inches tall. You'd have set that thing up down there, why, somebody'd run over it the first day. That was made to put on a mantelpiece or table, not to be set up in the public square.
Well, see, he never saw it, though. He expected it'd be a heap taller than that store of yours down there. He give $6.80 for it.
Well, he couldn't have expected much for that amount. But it's a good thing now that he didn't spend a lot of money on it the way things turned out.
No. I do wish, though, we could get some kind of a hearing from him. I'm just afeard that something dreadful's happened to him.
Well, now, I wouldn't worry about it, Abner. I don't know where he could be, but he's had lots of hard knocks before and didn't lose his head.
Oh, well, I don't think he lost his head neither. I don't see how he could hardly.
Well, I mean, I don't think he'll do anything rash.
Well, I hope not. But if you could have saw him when he left out of here the other day, why, you wouldn't be surprised to hear nothing that he's done. Here he was, all dressed up in that uniform he'd borrowed from the lodge, all ready to go over there and make that presenting speech. When he found out that nobody come to the ceremonies, why, he couldn't have looked no worse took back if he'd have heard judgment was coming tomorrow.
Well, it was bound to have been a big disappointment to him, naturally. Had his heart set on it and all.
Yeah, here comes Grandpappy now. Maybe he's got some news. He's been out asking everybody if they saw anything of it.
Well, I believe I better get on back store, Abner. I don't know much we can do, but if there's any way that I can help, well, I want you to be sure and call me.
Well, thank you, Dick. Did you get any news about them Lum, Grandpap? No, there ain't nobody saw him since he taken that uniform back to the lodge hall the other day. How are you, Richard?
Why, pretty good, Grandpap. How's yourself?
Oh, tolerably, I reckon. Awful tore up about Lum showing up missing, though.
Yeah, that's bad, but now you fellas mustn't worry about him. He might have just taken a trip or gone fishing for a few days or something like that.
Yeah.
Abner was telling me about how disappointed he was over the way his unveiling ceremonies turned out.
Yeah, and I found out just a while ago how come nobody to show up down there neither. It was all Mose Moot's doing. Mose Moot? Yeah, Mose and that bunch that hangs around the barber shop over there, just for a joke, got the word passed around that the whole thing had been called off. Well, ornery outfit. Well, now, Mose oughtn't to have did Lum that way as good of friends as they are. Well, I jumped Mose about it, but he said he never expected Lum to take it so hard, just aiming on having a little fun out of him over it.
Well, that sounds about like that Mose Moot's all right. That bunch that hangs out down there will do anything.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, me, it's worth a body's life if he ever goes to sleep in that barber chair. I was down there Saturday getting myself shaved, and Dropped off to sleep, and them blamed idiots painted my face all up like a woman. Never told me about it. Let me go clean out on the street making laughing stocks out of myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that, Abner. Well, I've got to go, fellas. Now, let me know, though, if you hear anything from Lum.
Yeah, all right, Richard. Yeah, we will. Well, Sir Abner, I'm getting sort of worried about Lum. Oh, me. It ain't like him just to drop out of sight this way all of a sudden. No telling what might have became of him. Oh, no. I was just thinking a while ago, Grandpap, all the different things that might have could happen to him. Well, sir, I've been doing the same thing, Abner. He might be wandering around out in them mountains by himself. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it might have affected him worse than we thought it did. He might have went clean out of his head and just wandering around lost up there, no telling. I got to thinking about Robinson Crusoe, that story about him sleeping for 20 years all by himself. Well, I'm a hard sleeper, Grandpa, but I don't believe he could sleep that long without waking up. No, I say I just got to thinking about that story, and I just wondering if anything like that could have happened to him. Well, ain't no telling, not a bit in the world. I've just worried myself plumb sick about it. Weren't able to sleep none last night, just paced the floor backwards and forwards all night long. Well, I do know. Me and Lum has always been such good friends, you know. Yeah, I know you have, Abner. Lum's did more for me than every feller could do for another, it looks like. Well, Lum's all right feller, all right. I hope nothing ain't happened to him. Yeah, we was talking the other day. He was aiming on taking this money we made off the circus business out of them hogs that Squire Skimp sold for us. We got, might nigh $3,700 in the bank. $3,700? Yeah, that's what we got. Lum was saying the other day how he's going to take it and invest it first. Make millionaires out of both of us, he said. He'd have did it, too. Yes, he would. Yeah, Lum, he don't make no better businessman than Lum Edder. That's right. I thought you and Lum was aiming on fixing up a store here, Abner. Going to get some of them models to put clothes on and all that stuff. Well, we had been talking about it, but after we got so much money, I think Lum had a heap bigger ideas than that, Grandpap. He said he was going to have a statue of me and him on every corner in Pine Ridge. That was his last words to me the other day. I believe that'd be too many of them. Unless you put some lights in them, or lamp posts or something. Well, Lum knows best. If he said we needed one on every corner, why, we need it on every corner. That's the way I feel. Wait a minute, that's our ring, Grandpa. Oh, my goodness. I hope it ain't no bad news about Lum. That's just what I'm afraid of. I'm just might not scared to pick up a receiver. Why, go ahead and answer it. We'll find it out sooner or later anyway. Hello? This is the Jot 'em Down store. Abner Peabody talking. Why, no, Mom, we ain't. Who is this a-talking? Oh, why, no, Everlina, we don't know where he's at. But we ain't saw him in 3 days. Straighten yourself up, Abner. You sound like you're crying. He did? Well, I do know. Well, that's just what we're feared of. Yeah. Yeah, me and Grandpappy Spears are just sitting here just now trying to figure out what could have happened to him. Well, all right, Everlina, I will. I'll call you just as quick as we get a hearing from him. All right, not at all. Goodbye. Who was that, Everlina? Yes, said she'd been calling over at his place for him, but hadn't been able to get him. Said that she had a date with him for last night and he never showed up for her. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, if he had a date with Evelina and never showed up for it, I know something's happened to him. Yeah, I tell you what we better do, Grandpap. We better just call up a sheriff in at the county seat and get him out here this afternoon and get him to work. Yeah, and I was just thinking we ought to make an announcement on the party line, too, and ask everybody to be on the lookout for him. That's a good idea. I'll do that right now. Oh, me, I know something happened. Tell them to notify us if they see or hear anything of it. Yeah, I'll just give the fire alarm ring here. I just had a feeling all along, Grandpapa, something terrible had happened to him. I knowed it. Wait. Hello? There ain't no fire no place. No. Just heard Abner Peabody talking. I just wanted to tell you folks out on the party line that Lum's a-missing. He disappeared 3 days ago, and we ain't seen or heard nothing of him since. He was wearing a blue serge suit, and a pair of tan-button shoes, and a black hat when he was saw last time. And a celluloid collar, Abner. Yes, a collar, but no tie. And if any of yous get any word of him, and it's in the daytime, call the Jot 'em Down store, And if it's of a night, well, call my place. I just hope all of you to be on the lookout for him. Please.
We're sure that any news of Lum will be appreciated by his old friend Abner. In the minute or so that we have left, I want you to hear a letter I brought along tonight. It came from Mrs. B. Wagner, who lives in High Point, North Carolina. Here's what she says about Horlick's malted milk.
Dear Lum and Abner, my brother's baby, 5 months old, weighed 4 pounds when it was born. 4 nurses cared for it, and almost every kind of milk food imaginable was tried. But the baby didn't even begin to thrive until we put him on Horlick's malted milk. He's been drinking your product for 2 weeks now and has already gained 2 pounds. We can't begin to tell you how much we praise Horlicks to our friends.
Well, Mrs. Wagner, we certainly do appreciate your taking the trouble to write and tell us your experience with Horlicks. Letters like that are so sincere and convincing. Mothers, you can get Horlicks, you know, at your druggist's in either natural or chocolate flavor. This is Carlton Brickert, speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all good night and good health.
May 27th, 1935, Lum and Abner on Classic Radio Theater, thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com. RadioMemories.com, he provides shows on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. I've mentioned this before. Horlicks is no longer manufactured in the U.S. or really widely available in the U.S. It's only available, I think, through Amazon and online on Walmart. It's made in England, and the formula has significantly changed, so it's no longer quite the product it used to be. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Classicradio.stream. Stream our shows. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me, find our social media links, and if you're so inclined, you can buy me a coffee. That Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections and maintain our distribution channels. That's at classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.